Hello, everyone. Christina here. Welcome to Reaction 5. This is my fifth reaction video. Looking back, throwing back to old card videos. This video is for the year 2011. I'm excited to jump into this. A lot happened in the year 2011. That was the year when I left Basic Gray. I started working at Simon Says Stamp. It's also the year that Jennifer McGuire and I started online card classes. Can you believe it's been 10 years? And stay tuned for that. We want to do something really fun for those of you who've been with us since the beginning, or even just to celebrate the fact that OCC's been around for 10 years. So we want to do something with that soon. But anyway, today's video is from that year, and we're going to get into it. I'm going to watch it along with you. I'll stop the video along the way to make some commentary. And I believe this is a one-layer card, really simple, lots of stamping, and let's watch it. I really liked this intro. I kept it for a long time. I liked the music. I liked the graphics. It was fun. Oh, June 20th, 2011. That was right around, I don't think we'd started our very first class of online card classes yet, but we were heavily promoting it. It's just fun to think about that time. Hi everyone, welcome to another Make a Card My Day video. Little bit of business before we get started. I just want to remind you all that registration for Summer Card Camp 2011, the online class with me and Jennifer McGuire, is open until the 29th, and there's info and registration info about. Little did we know, 10 years later, we would still be creating classes for you guys. It's crazy. At my blog with this video, or if you're at YouTube, it's in the info box down below. And anyway, so the card for today, I thought I would do another single layer card or one layer card. I did a card that was just one layer on a Finally Friday video a couple weeks back. Do you guys remember Finally Friday? That was a series of card videos I did for Two Peas in a Bucket every single Friday for a number of years. I think I was a garden girl for 3 years. And I think in August, like a couple months after this video, is when I actually left Two Peas. And it was in anticipation of working for Simon Says Stamp. So, yeah. By the way, look at my nail stamping on my nails. That's so cute. I still remember doing this combo. So cute. Loved it. I had a great response, and it was so much fun to do. So I thought I would do another one. And if you want to see that video, go ahead and click this little area right here. There's a little spot right here where you can click and go and see that video. Anyway, so I'm starting out with some craft cardstock, and this is going to be a portrait card. So I actually took the letter sheet of cardstock and cut it down the middle lengthwise. I'm going to go ahead and score it with a Martha Stewart craft scoring board. And a Big Mama scoring board. Embossing styluses this one's from Stampin' Up, but you can find these at craft stores and things like that. And I just use the smaller tip to emboss. And I always kind of just get it started like that so it can feel the groove underneath. And then just score along. And it should fold no problem. I don't really prefer the bone folder that comes with the scoring board. I'm spending a lot of time on showing you how to create this card base. Isn't it funny how today in card videos now, we don't spend a whole lot of time doing this. We jump right into it. And it makes me wonder, like, for new beginner card makers, are they missing out on, like, seeing this bit of the process? You know, like, let me know in the comments. Do you wish that we still included things like that? Or are you totally okay with us kind of glossing over that part of the card creation? Because it's a really important part of the card. I don't know, it just feels weird to me. So I always go back to my regular bone folder just to crease things really well. All right, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw a sloping line at the bottom of the card. We want a good portion of the bottom of the card to be cut off. So I'm going to take my T-square ruler And I'm just going to draw a line. Oh, I want it to have it show about 1 inch. And then I'm going to come up and pick another spot.
What am I doing?
About right there. And I'm just going to do 2 little tick marks on each side. You could also do this just by lining it up on your grid mat and picking a good spot. Okay, so, oh, I shouldn't have taken that away quite yet. I'm going to mark the middle of this. And it's 4 1/4 wide, so the middle is actually 2 1/8. So I'm just going to mark where that middle is. I'm going to turn it so I can get a good angle to sketch because I'm right-handed. And I'm just going to start
curved line.
Sketching a really good slope. I'm not so worried about it getting kind of messy because I can erase it because I'm using a pencil.
The things we did before we had dyes that would do this.
Slope.
Last week I mentioned that one of the first dies that I designed for Simon Says Stamp was inspired by a heart punch that I was using a lot at the time. Well, one of the first border dies I did for Simon was this curved line for an A2 card. And that was directly inspired by creating cards like this and having to draw that curved line. It just, gave me a quick way to do it just with a die. That's kind of interesting, just seeing how the evolution of things went along.
Okay, I'm going to even it out a little bit. Okay, so now we've got that little flat cut down, and we're going to stamp the inside of the card. I know that sounds kind of strange, but we're going to stamp the inside. I'm using the designer wood grain stamp from Hero Arts, and I'm going to be using some color.
You guys will recognize this wood grain and also the cardstock color and the ink color from a reaction video a couple times ago. I think it was reaction 3. I used the same combination, and I remember when Hero Arts came out with the large background of this, I think it came out after they had the circle version. I was so ecstatic. In fact, I think I gave this stamp away because they retired it, but if they still had it around, I probably would use it.
Box Fluid Chalk Ink in Chestnut Roan. Just gonna get this all inked up. And I don't want to stamp the inside front, so I'm just gonna lay it down like that. Oh, I just got my hand. Oh well. Use the brayer to get that stamp on there really nice.
A brayer? I wish I had that brayer now. When I was starting to do some jelly plate stuff or gel press for Simon Says Stamp a couple months ago, I looked for that brayer and I couldn't find it. I was like, I thought I had a brayer. I ended up having to buy a new one.
Got a little bit of the inside, but I'm not that worried. Whatever. Okay, just because I don't like that edge, I think I'm just going to trim the card. Okay.
Good call, Christina.
So now we're going to work on the very front of the card. And on the inside, I'm actually going to put, just some plain paper so that I can write a message inside. Or you can write the message up here at the top, either way. So I'm starting out with this stamp from Hero Arts. This is the Scallop Circle.
I'm using a lot of wood stamps on these. I kind of love it.
And I'm going to stamp it in the Chestnut Roan once again. I'm going to put it just down here kind of centered. Okay, and now I'm taking a stamp set. This is from My Little Shoebox. This is the Home.
I don't even know that company. I don't know. They're probably not around anymore.
Sweet Home stamp. And I'm going to use this little bird in the birdhouse.
Such a cute little birdhouse.
Okay, and now I'm going to take a white gel pen. And I'm going to have a string coming down and connecting to the top of the birdhouse as if the birdhouse was hanging. So
you could do a similar thing with Christmas ornaments.
First. And I want it to be kind of a whimsical little string. And then it's going to have a little bow on it. Okay. I'm going to take dashed lines around the outside edge and also down here around the bottom.
Of course
Actually,
I
I
am.
don't think I'm going to go around the bottom edges, but I am going to round them with my corner rounder.
Of course I am.
Okay, so this is when I would actually put a little piece of paper in here so you can write your message. If I would have been thinking farther ahead, I probably would have masked off that area and then it would truly be just a one layer card. But since I didn't think about that in advance, I just went for it because I was, too excited about the design. I'm going to have to put in a little piece of paper right here.
I also could have just only stamped the bottom portion of the card, like the inside that would be exposed when it's closed. I could have just stamped the very bottom and left the rest plain. That would be another option.
To write a message for the recipients. So I was going to call this card done, but then I decided I wanted to add a little bit of color. So I'm actually going to color the bird with this Copic marker. This is BG72 Ice Ocean. So I'm just going to really carefully come in here because I don't want it to bleed that chestnut roan too much.
Ooh, I am being very risky here. Against that chalk ink, not Copic friendly.
I'm just getting the little bird. And I'm also going to do top of the birdhouse.
But you know what? I still have this same marker 10 years later, and I don't think I've refilled it. That shows you how long Copics last.
Lovely. And because you can't really see that bird's eye very well, I'm just going to use the white gel pen and draw on a white dot as soon as I can get the pen to work. Come on.
Is the pen going to work? Here we go. Oh, I still struggled. This probably wouldn't happen with a Jelly Roll number 10 bold. I'm just saying. The Uniball Signal Broad had a special place in my heart for a long time.
The bird and put some dots around it. I'm not sure if it's a little too fussy or not. I'm not entirely sure. If I redo this card, I think I'd probably do it a couple different ways. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching.
There's the card. I think it turned out pretty cute. Okay, so now I could think about how I want to recreate this card with the current product. If I want to have that curved edge, I could definitely use the A2 curved border die or curved edge die, I think I called it. Is that, and I have lots of little circular elements. I'm gonna have to go through my stash and really kind of examine what I've got that I can use to recreate a card like this. So I'll meet you back here in a minute for when we make the card. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to be using this brand new stamp set from the Stamptember release, and it's called Merry Christmas Trees. This is a stamp set that I designed, and I'm going to pair it with a 6x6 cling background stamp called Center Cut, Center Cut Fancy Flower. It's also one that I designed. And then we're going to bring back that die that I referenced, the A2 card curved edge die. The first thing I'm going to do is prep my card base here since it's going to be a one-layer card. This is some Sprout cardstock from Concord and Ninth, and I'm scoring it at 5.5 to create a top folding card. So like I did in my original video, I'm first going to mark where I want my curved edge to be. So I didn't measure it or anything, I just eyeballed it. Made 2 tick marks with a T-square ruler, and then I'm using that curved edge die. And I'm making sure that the die lines up on those pencil marks. Ran that through my die cutting machine, and I'm left with this curved edge on the front of my card. I'm going to stamp the inside of the card now with that background stamp. So I'm taking some Post-it tape. This is 2-inch wide Post-it tape. I'm putting it down right on the inside of the card, and I'm going to wrap it around onto the back of the card base so that it doesn't get in the way while I do my stamping. So now I'm going to go to my Misty stamp positioning tool, and I'm placing that near the top of my Misty, and I'm going to position that cling background stamp down below. And I want it to only stamp on that bottom portion, and so that's why I'm only moving, well, I have my card base moved to the top. I'm using Perfection ink from Simon Says Stamp. This is some of their positively saturated ink. And I'm only inking up the top half of my stamp because that's all really that I need. And that ink coats the stamp so beautifully, and I'm going to get a really good impression the first time. I'm using my Stampin' Bug glider to really press that the door of my Misty down onto my project, and I get this beautiful stamped image. I love this tone on tone effect. So in the original card, remember I had that circular stamp that made that circle element on the front. Since I don't have that stamp, instead I'm going to use a circle mask. This is the circle mask set from Simon Says Stamp. And I'm taking that same Perfection ink and blending it on with a blender brush. This blender brush is from Honeybee. So I removed the mask and I'm left with this circular area. So now I'm going to take that really large 6x8 tree stamp set, and it has a large grouping of trees along one edge. I'm going to have it span the entire front of my card, but having that circular masked area in the background sort of helps bring the focal point to that area. I'm using the Perfection ink once again and stamping that down right over the top. And I positioned the trees a little bit off to one side so that I would have some shorter trees off on one side. So one stamping, and I have a full coverage on that image. Decided to add a little greeting on the front, so I've got some black cardstock here. I've prepped it with an anti-static powder tool, and then now I'm stamping a small greeting from that Merry Christmas Trees stamp set. This greeting just says Holiday Cheer. I stamped that in Versamark ink and applied some alabaster embossing powder from Brutus Monroe. I'm going to heat set this with my heat tool until the powder is smooth and melted, and then I trimmed it out to be a very thin little strip for my greeting. I put some Darice thin foam adhesive on the back, and then adhered that to the front of the card. So the last thing I'm going to do is add a little bit of detail work with a white pen like I did with my original card. Thought that would be a fun throwback, and it also brings a little more brightness to the card. So I added little dots on the trees. I filled in some of the line areas. This also gives the effect of the trees on top of the circular background, which I think is kind of neat. It brings it to the forefront, and it gives more detail to this. This is quite a simple card, but there are quite a few things going on as well. So this is going to just bring it all together. The last thing I did was I added a bunch of white areas over onto the tree on the right. I'm actually going to outline every single one of those little tiny lines on the inside there. Okay, and that is the card for today. Here's an up-close look. I love the white details, and I like that you see the peak of the background stamp down below. So here is the other card side by side. You can definitely see that one is inspired by the other, but in and of itself, it's a great card design. Thanks so much for joining me today. I will be back on Monday with a brand new card idea for you guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.